Hello, today I'm going to be talking about a strength build I'm very proud of. Now, this isn't just some hypothetical build made on the builder, this is the build that I actually use in-game, so I'll explain how to progress it, how to build it, and how to use it. Here's a quick example of something this build can do. This doesn't show off all the moves, it just shows an example of one of the combos I'm able to pull off. A big part of this build is the ability to Z-step, which I'm going to explain right now. I should also explain how I skip this move. There are two types of shrine in the game. There's a shrine that lets you get 2 additional levels on a move of your choice, and a shrine that lets you refund the move. I refund Cyclone for the skill points, and also because it's very hard to hit, even with the dash during the startup. It does not have hyper armor, so it can just be cancelled. And for the +2 points, use it on whatever you need. Certain moves that knock your enemy back are able to be rushed down, where you press Q when that box shows, and you'll teleport to your opponent, hitting them for a little bit of damage, and you're able to continue fighting them. Now, some other moves allow you to Z-step a move, which is where you press your move and then Q in rapid succession while the box is shown, and you teleport to them, and the startup of your move is shortened. Now, this does lower the damage of the move. However, with strength, there are lots of really strong moves. It doesn't show how good this is because on the dummy, but there are very strong moves that are very hard to hit. Not every move is able to be Z-stepped, and not every move that knocks the enemy back is able to be Z-stepped off of. The main ways we have to Z-step are an aerial launcher, where you hold shift and crits, and heavy kick, which launches them back. And, most importantly, Fell Crescent. Another important mechanic is crumple. Crumple is when your enemy is lying flat on the ground, like this. And while they're crumpled, they cannot be hit. This can also be done with Raging Grasp, which is the skill essence move. And Impale, which after being hit by it, the enemy is sent to the ground, crumpled. Additionally, certain ability and weapon crits can inflict crumple. For instance, the M2 variant for Shark's first attack inflicts crumple, and Greatsword crit does as well. The most bread and butter important concept of this build is that Fell Crescent can hit enemies that are crumpled, and you can Z-step off of Fell Crescent. This means if you're able to crumple an enemy, you are able to Fell Crescent them and then Z-step into another move. For example here, I'm able to crumple the enemy, Fell Crescent, and then Z-step into Impale. I should preface that this build works for every race. If you are on a Rankar, I recommend you get Shark so you're able to crumple enemies as easily and as efficient with your Ray as I do. But if you are not, if you are a Shinigami, you can also use Ice to start your combos. Additionally, if you do not have the ability, or the ability to get the ability that I use, you're able to use a weapon like Greatsword to start your combos significantly easier. Additionally, other moves in this kit work for doing so. I personally just like Shark. I'm now going to explain each move in this build, starting off with my first move, Volt Slash, which should be level 7. However, to take it over the level cap of 6, you need to use a Hogyoku, which I have not used yet. Why is it so bright? To start, Volt Slash is somewhat of a lunge move that does decent damage. This is my M1 for reference. As we get Volt Slash to level 6 or 7, we're able to feint the slash, which allows us to mix up even good opponents. By feinting the slash, we're able to use it into a move like Impale, and if they try and parry it, they're not going to be prepared for the attack where you have to grab it. The next move is Heavy Kick, and Heavy Kick has a singular purpose. You are meant to Z-stop off of it. That is all. This move is really hard to land, especially on good opponents. However, I would recommend doing a weapon feint into it. Now, the next move is Skyscraper, and at level 6, Skyscraper gets a follow-up. This attack does have hyper armor, and its hitbox is very vertical, so what your enemies will try and do is they'll try and dash around it. Be sure to try and track your opponent when they do that. By pressing Q after using the move, you do another attack. And then after that, you send them to the ground, crumpled. You've seen Impale. This move will stab opponents, doing good damage. It does not work very well on these dummies here, and afterwards they are sent to the ground, crumpled as well. Overhead Slash is a move I get to level 3, which means that this move doesn't have hyper armor, so it is hard to hit. Now, one thing is, good opponents will expect this move to have hyper armor. However, they will often try to avoid or parry it. What you can do is, whenever you feel it's right, you can kind of just throw it out when they are far away or have whiffed a move. And if this hits and they block it, then they take incredible posture damage. And if they parry it, it will restore posture nonetheless. The next move we have is Fell Crescent, which is a move that can also kind of just be thrown out, as it does good damage and sends you back. However, I really recommend saving this move exclusively for when you have an enemy who's crumpled onto the ground. And the next move is Raging Grasp. Now, this move does a little damage when you hit them, and then a little damage when you put them on the floor. It is nothing to write home about. However, if you run them into a building and you see that building taking damage, they will take additional damage. The main point of this move is to give you an additional way to crumple. It also looks very cool. Now, this build isn't complete without its charms and passives. One important passive we get is Berserker, where when we're at low health, our melee damage increases by a significant amount. Additionally, we get Struggler Spirit, where when you are below a certain amount of HP, you have damage resistance, and by landing 3 basic attacks, you're able to bolster your strength. Now, though both of those combined allow you to become significantly stronger when you're low, so be sure to lock in. Another fun thing is this move also hurts your opponents even more when they're low, so all of these effects can stack together and do a lot of damage. Here are some clips of me using the build, fighting the 55th highest ranked player. If you have any questions after this video, I will be answering every subscriber's questions, so do be sure to like and subscribe. I want to thank you all for all the support I've been getting. I really like this game and I'd love to start making videos for it as more of a hobby. So if you have any suggestions for what I can make next, please let me know. Thank you all for watching and have a good rest of your day.